2022 has been a good year for track cycling for me. It started off with nationals in the beginning of the year and coming away with 2 national titles, one in the kilo and one in the team sprint, and also coming second in my individual pursuit. And then off in August to Junior Worlds to race for New Zealand, and we came away with bronze in the team pursuit. So overall, a pretty good year for me. The hour record, it's all about how far you can ride in an hour. It is such like a unique event and considered by many to be one of the most grueling events you can put yourselves through. I did question myself why I was willing to put myself through that pain, but I guess the whole part of the challenge is to challenge yourself, and after Junior Worlds I really needed something else to help me keep me motivated going through for the rest of the year. So that was definitely one thing to help me keep motivated and to keep the training and see how far I could push myself. First time I heard about the hour challenge would have been when my uncle attempted it back in 2021. He went for the New Zealand record. From then I didn't actually know how much of a big event it was. And then hearing other people doing it, I thought, you know what, I probably should give it a go. And looking into hour records in New Zealand, there was no under 19 record at the time. It was only after Junior Worlds when I decided to actually go attempt the hour challenge. I had talked to my family on numerous occasions about attempting it, and I thought after Worlds it was time to book it in and try and get a date and just fully commit to it. I knew I could ride for an hour, I just didn't know how well I could do. I had just started a new training block, so my training wasn't actually aimed for the hour record, it was aimed for nationals in 2023. So we didn't actually know how well I could do with the training that I had. When the date was put forward, it was actually a lot sooner than I wanted it to be due to availability at the track, which really left me with about 3 weeks of training beforehand. Once the date was locked in, it felt pretty real. I remember instantly going and messaging all my friends and family, hoping they could come and watch on the day of my hour challenge. As an endurance rider, I spend the majority of my training on the road. So after Junior Worlds, I got to training on the road, but I knew I had to get back to the track to start preparing for the hour challenge. I needed to kind of figure out what size gearing I wanted, what lap times I wanted to hit. I wanted to know what my first lap was going to be, my second and third lap, just to see if I could figure out how fast I could go to maintain a pace throughout the whole hour challenge. I ended up having a rough idea of what gears I wanted to use, but ended up sticking with the bigger gear, which meant I had a lower cadence, which helped me feel more consistent during the laps, so I had more constant pressure. Leading up to the hour challenge, I only really had 4 sessions on the track, which did make me a bit nervous, but ended up with sharing the track with some riders, getting a few 15-minute sessions in, and actually one half-an-hour session in. And coming off from that 30-minute session, I was actually very nervous. I didn't know how I was gonna hold the position for the hour, as I was in an excruciating pain after that half an hour. But I had set my plan and what I wanted to do, so all I had to do on the day was just stick to it. On several occasions, I actually thought I was crazy for attempting this hour challenge, as riders who've gone and attempted it have trained for several months on this, and they've done bike fits and they've done aero testing and they've had heat training, and I was going in this just with my mental and physical strength. And so, it was pretty grueling going into it. The feedback from other cyclists who have attempted the hour challenge is pretty much all the same. It's brutal on the body and legs. You can't stand up and stretch your legs, and you can't drink during that hour. And that velodrome gets very hot. And studies have shown a 1% increase of temperature in your body can lead to a 1% decrease in efficiency, which is about 15 to 20 watts, and during the hour challenge, that's a lot. The day before my hour challenge, I made sure to go and cut my hair so I could be not overheating in the velodrome. I also went and shaved my face and legs so I could be as slipstream and aero as possible on the track. I wanted to make sure I was going to have a real restful night's sleep, so I made sure to pack all my food, drinks, electrolytes, spare tools I might need, my helmet, and I made sure to clean my bike so then I could go to sleep and not have to worry about anything in the morning. I remember waking up in the morning feeling surprisingly refreshed, so I known I'd got enough sleep. I continued with my usual race day prep, which involved eating food and staying hydrated. I just wanted to keep everything the same and not change anything, as I knew I could perform on that. 3 weeks had flown by pretty quickly. I had packed my car in the morning and was actually feeling kind of calm and relaxed because I just knew I was ready. When I was warming up, I was really excited, but also pretty nervous as I didn't really have a proper schedule plan for my warm up. I was just kind of mimicking what I had, my coach had given me at Junior Worlds, and I was going off an extension of that so that it could be a more progressive warm up, as the hour challenge is a long effort rather than just like a 3 or 4 minute effort like I was doing at Worlds. So yeah, I was pretty nervous and I was sweating a lot during it as well. So I was like, oh, I wonder how I'm going to deal with riding the full hour with all the sweat that's coming off me now and how much it's going to be off over there. So, and my music was pretty upbeat music just to help get me in the mood and ready to ride the race. The aim of the hour challenge is to ride as far as you can in an hour. The shortest way around the track is 250 meters, and that is from the black line. My aim will be to stick on the black line or even slightly below it to ensure that I'm riding the 250 meters around the track for one lap. As if I ride any higher, I'm riding further than I need to, as the system's only counting by laps and not by how far my bike goes. For me, I had no real pressure or expectations put on myself. I had my little goal, what I wanted to achieve, but at the end of the day, I was just there to set a new under-19 New Zealand record, and for those coming through to try and attempt. So I hadn't really put an expectation out to break any other record but that one. One of my mates, Devin, kindly offered to help time my splits when I was going around the track, so I knew exactly what I was doing and if I was on pace or not. So specifics on my bike, I had a 61 chainring on the front and a 15 cog on the back, which gave me 109.8. My crank size was 165 and my frame is a large. I was actually really lucky to be able to get one of my mates some good wheels off him, which were pumped up to 200 psi. Yeah, once I was in the gate, everything started feeling a bit more real. I was a bit nervous if I had warmed up too much or hadn't warmed up enough, and the fact that I hadn't had too much training and preparation going into before the hour challenge. So I was a bit nervous there, but I kind of just told myself to breathe and just focus on my little goals, which were just staying on the black line, holding a nice position, and just holding the lap times I'd set for myself. And I knew if I could do that, I could make the hour. Ended up choosing to wear my Lacole New Zealand skin suit that I wore to Junior Worlds, just because I knew that was a pretty fast skin suit for us. And I ended up putting on Castelli overshoe covers, and then I just had my Mistral, which was my fastest air helmet I had. I ended up not wearing gloves just because I actually felt more comfortable without them, and in the long term it doesn't make too much of a difference. When starting my hour challenge, I'd set myself to do a 26 to 25 second start lap with a 19 to an 18.5 second and third lap. I wanted to keep it kind of slower on the slower pace just because I didn't know if I would be able to hold a really high pace for the rest of the race. But then, yeah, when the countdown started, I got a lot of adrenaline hit, and hands got really sweaty. And when I went out of the gate, thinking I was gonna come across on a real slow first lap, I ended up doing a 24, which was, second and a half faster than I wanted to. And I thought, okay, that's all right. At least let's get a 19-second in for my second lap, and then came across and it was an 18.0, and I was like, oh, okay, so we're a bit faster here. And pretty much my mindset went straight away, like, just got to bring it down, just slow it down, because the first laps always feel the easiest. So I knew I had to bring it back down, which I did real slowly and progressively. It took a while, but I eventually slowed it down. When doing an hour challenge, the officials have to put blocks around the track. So when I was riding around, I had these little blocks in my peripheral vision, and because I haven't actually ridden with them that much, it was kind of daunting at the start. So I struggled to hold the black line a little bit, but progressively as I went through, I got closer to that black line, which made the riding way easier. I always just made sure to keep my head down, as there was actually no need for me to lift my head up, as there was no one in front of me or anyone around me. And was pretty happy with my pedal strokes, felt real consistent. I had the constant pressure on the pedals to help keep me pushing forward, and yeah, I felt real controlled throughout the whole race. A key component on going fast on the track is to make sure you have a real aero position on your bike. I didn't have much time to fiddle around with the different positions, so I just stuck with the one I had at Junior Worlds for the team pursuit. I knew it was a fast position, and I knew I was comfortable in that position, so all I had to do was just try and hold it for the hour. What makes the hour record difficult is the fact that there is no brakes like you have on the road or during a time trial. It's just pure power for the hour. I knew I had the strength to ride for the hour. It was just more about how mentally ready I was. So with the weeks prior to the race, I had set some time to focus on my mental skills and how I could cope during the hour challenge. I had set aside some plans depending on how the race would go. So mainly after halfway, so 30 minutes in, if the time started slowing down, that I would be okay with that and try and focus on either holding that or trying to bring it back. During the race, I had told Devon to call out halfway, so I'd know that at least I've done 30 minutes into the race. I actually thought the first half an hour would be the hardest part of the race, just because getting through that mentally would be quite difficult. And then after halfway, it's, only 30 minutes to go. So like in my head, I was like, okay, now the countdown starts, and now I'm like, I've only got half an hour, I've got 20 minutes, 10 minutes, all that. So yeah. My legs actually felt surprisingly good during the whole race. I thought I'd have a bit more cramp and movement within my position, but I was actually able to hold my position quite nicely, and I didn't really have too much pain going on. And even throughout the whole race, I just felt my power progressively get stronger and stronger. I knew staying focused during the whole race would probably be one of the biggest challenges. So a way I found that helped me get through it was just counting 16 laps, which was roughly about 4 minutes in the race. And I knew every time I would count the 16 laps, I would be that much closer to finishing. Within the last 10 minutes, I actually ended up picking up my pace by a second a lap, which was really surprising, as I thought I actually wouldn't have enough energy by that last 10 minutes, but I was actually feeling pretty good, and my legs were a little bit numb, but I thought just got to push through, only 10 minutes to go. I knew the bell lap was coming soon, so all I had to do was just wait for it, and then when the bell finally did ring, it was one of the most amazing feelings ever, knowing, one lap to go, that's pretty much done now, and once I crossed the line, it was a really good feeling. When finishing the race, I actually thought sitting up would be really nice, but actually, as soon as I stopped putting pressure on the pedals and put my hands on the drop bars, my whole body just seized up, and thought to myself, how am I going to stop this bike? Because I can't feel my legs anymore. I remember looking up at the board after doing some cool down laps and actually being like really shocked in how well I actually ended up doing. I remember trying to slow myself down, but I was struggling, so I took a few extra laps than I probably should have, and Gary, my uncle, came to help stop me and help me unclip because I couldn't feel my legs. And then I tried to get off my bike and walk over to all my friends and family. I just collapsed on the floor because legs just gave way. When I was lying on the floor, I think everything was just hurting. My legs were so cramped, and every time I moved them, it just like sent a shock to my brain. And I was just like, some pain I've never felt before. Lucky that my uncle Gary, he had attempted the hour record before, and he kind of knew what movements I should be getting myself into to try and help relax the muscles, but it definitely wasn't pleasant getting into them.
The last, like, Devon said 5 minutes ago, I was like, huh?
Like, your pace was good all the way through. Yeah. Just the first time.
New Zealand record. Counting like 16 laps, pretty much 5 minutes. So I was like, yep, okay. Haven't got much to go. I need 3 more sets of IPs. Yeah, I looked up and I saw like 2 minutes to go on the board. Like, I must have counted too fast or something. I was like, I swear I said 16 laps already.
I'm proud of myself for committing to the hour challenge and actually how well I did. I'd just gone out there to try and set a new under-19 record, but to come away with also the all-time New Zealand record, it's quite amazing. It was definitely worth all the pain in the end of the day, and it's good to know how far I can push my mind and my body.